Good afternoon and welcome to our daily COVID-19 update for the town of Plymouth. This is update number 37. It's coming to you live on Monday, May 4th, 2020. I'm Steve Triffletti, your Plymouth Town Moderator, and we will be here each day, Monday through Friday at noon for this update. This forum is being brought to you live by PAC TV on Comcast channels 13 and 15, on Verizon channels 43 and 47. You can also watch this on PAC TV's streaming channel by going to pactv.org/live. For today's questions for our panel, please email them to plymouthinfo@pactv.org. These forums can be replayed at pactv.org/Plymouth. And today we welcome, as we always do, the Chair of the Board of Selectmen, Kenneth Tavares, and Representative Matthew Muratore. Also, each Monday, we welcome Sara Cloud, and she is the Director of Behavioral Health and Social Work at Beth Israel Deaconess. For the first time, we also have joining us Donna Curtin. She's the Executive Director for the Pilgrim Hall Museum. Tom Begley, he is the Executive Office and Special Projects Manager for Plymouth Plantation. Andrew Boteri is the Chair of the Plymouth Bay Cultural District, and each Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Aimee Naples, Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. These forums are date stamped on the top right-hand corner so that you'll know that you're watching the live broadcast and can send us your questions. We already have a question from last Friday that we'll be answering today. At this time, we're going to go to the Chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen, Kenneth Tavares. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to re-emphasize how you can pay your taxes. We've had some questions about that. The mail slot is in the back of Town Hall. Now, some people consider the frontage where the two doors are that you can't go in not to be the front. That's the front of the building. The back is where the collection area is. There is, to the left of the building, there is a slot. It's not a box, it's a slot. And you have until June 29th to pay your taxes without penalty or accrued interest. So you don't have to run down today, but just remember June 29th is the deadline so that you will not be hit with a penalty or interest. Also, I'd like to just put in a personal request. Over the weekend, many of you were out and about and did a phenomenal job wearing masks, keeping distance, and we are most appreciative of that. As we well know, this is the way that we can fight this virus. But we're now entering another month, and I know that many of you are weary and your patience is running short. I just ask that we be a little bit more patient with one another. There are many questions that come up in the course of the day that some of us have never faced before and hope we never will again. But we can work through them and with a bit of kindness and a bit of patience. I can assure you that people on all levels of government, from the federal down to the local, are working as hard as they can to solve problems, as I said, that they have not seen before. So with that, I want to say thank you for what you're doing, for the acts of kindness that are being practiced throughout this community. It's certainly heartwarming to see how we are responding. We still have a ways to go, but as I've said before, we can do it. We can do it. We will defeat this virus. Steve?
Thank you, Kenneth Tavares, Chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. And as Ken has said, we are dealing with lots of new things. On Friday, I did announce that the courthouse in Plymouth is closed. And this morning, I can report that according to the information we provided, it will be closed until May 12th, which means that any matter involving courts that are usually holding hearings in Plymouth will be held at other courthouses. I also wanted to announce, as we welcome Sara Cloud, she's going to be talking about self-help. And this week is Lawyer Wellbeing Week. It's from May 4th to 8th. And every lawyer in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts received an email from the Supreme Judicial Court. And that email provides lawyers with not only technical assistance, but mental health support, as well as information on a group called Lawyers Concerned for Lawyers that is a free and confidential helpline. And as we all move forward, whether it's first responders, essential services, or all businesses and residents in the community, we know that we need to take care of ourselves. Sara Cloud from Beth Israel Deaconess, who is the Director of Behavioral Health and Social Work, is going to talk to us about that today. Welcome, Sara.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I think it's a really important topic and one that we might be getting a little tired of hearing about. But as Ken mentioned, patience is wearing thin, and acts of kindness go a long way, and especially acts of kindness towards yourself and starting with yourself can really help. I think regenerate our energy and our patience and our compassion with others. So I just wanted to touch base about this important topic this morning. What better than on a Monday morning to do that, or a Monday afternoon? So when you think about self-care, things that come to mind are, massages and pedicures and maybe long bubble baths, brunch with friends, a night away, a vacation, or shopping. And before the pandemic, those were all really wonderful, indulgent self treats. But they're really just simply unattainable due to physical distancing, finances, and the new roles that everyone's taking on, particularly parents at home, in both being a teacher and everything else that they're doing. So I'd really encourage folks to shift their thinking about self-help, self-care, to much simpler and more obtainable acts of self-kindness. So, in doing so, consider 6 core areas of physical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, professional, and relational health. So, just really quick examples of what these different categories would look like. An example for the physical self-care category might include creating a calming space in your home or even your backyard. The weather is getting really nice, or finding a physical activity that you really enjoy doing. An example of what the psychological self care category might look like is journaling or confiding in a close friend. An example of what the emotional category might look like is laughing, watching a funny video, or crying. I think the important piece is that you don't hold your emotions in, or volunteering. A lot of people are making masks or, doing a lot of great things to come together during this pandemic to help others. Spiritual category could include stuff like spending time out in nature, or creating a list of things that give you hope or faith. Professional might look more like taking a break or creating a peer support group during this difficult time. And lastly, relational category might include practicing boundaries. That often means practicing saying no, but sometimes it could be yes as well. And limiting interactions, especially on social media, that are toxic. So don't make too many changes at once. Instead, try picking a strategy or 2 strategies or activities from each of these sections that you can focus on. And just be kind and gentle with yourself, most importantly. It's important to remember that self care is never a substitute for professional care, and that there's a lot of availability of services right now through telehealth. And please reach out if you need help. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's Sara Cloud, and she's joining us each Monday from Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital in Plymouth. And at this time, we'd like to welcome Donna Curtin. Donna is the Executive Director for Plymouth Pilgrim Hall Museum, and also Donna is a town meeting member, and we work together with Plymouth Town Meeting. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Very good to join the company here from Pilgrim Hall Museum. I'm actually at the museum and not remote. We had a little bit of an emergency wrapped into the crisis of our day, and our heating and ventilation system went down in the museum earlier this year during the pandemic, and we've had to, because the care of the objects here, of course, is our primary goal and has been our mission for 200 years now. We had to attend to that, so we've been having some construction done in the museum. But I'm glad to say that The system is in place and just in time for the heat and the priceless artifacts that we have here at Pilgrim Hall Museum will continue to be well cared for. We're also very happy and proud to be part of Plymouth's cultural community, and the museum community and historical community of our region is so very strong, and that has given us a lot of opportunity to collaborate with others, to engage in some of those wonderful, comforting peer relationships that Sara was just talking about on the professional side of things. The Plymouth Bay Cultural District has come together. We've had webinars, and there's been a lot of assistance with between our cultural organizations to try to apply for funding so we can keep staff on board, so we can keep programs going. But the challenges are high in the museum field because our economic model is been turned on its head, particularly during a year we expected it to be very different. And we're having to find ways to reinvent ourselves. And a lot of that, of course, has to happen through the virtual and digital world. And the other concern is when we are able to open our doors again, how can we do that safely? So we're trying to track and watch the discussions going on about how physical spaces such as ours, where we are an indoor facility, can be made inviting and safe for people when that traffic returns. So there's a lot, like everybody, the challenges are high, but I feel very reassured to be part of our community here in Plymouth because I think there's a lot of creativity here. And that gives me a lot of hope and optimism. And we want to be able to share the resources of our remarkable and unique organization. We've been here 200 years. There's not many places in America that can make that claim. And we want to share that history with the rest of the world and with our community here locally.
Curtin, and she's the executive director for the Pilgrim Hall Museum. She'll be with us throughout the hour as we receive your questions at plymouthinfo@pactv.org. And like Donna, all of us participating are hopeful and optimistic because we have been responding to the coronavirus locally. As you see, each day we bring together officials and experts in various fields so that you'll have up-to-date information about what's going on in Plymouth. And with that, we're going to now talk to the Plymouth Plantation through Thomas Begley. He is the Executive Office and Special Projects Manager at Plymouth Plantation. He's also a town meeting member. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you for inviting us to be a part of this today. And thank you for all your efforts and PAC TV's efforts to make these forums possible every day. I know we all really appreciate getting all this information from all these different experts. So just was going to go through a little bit of what Plymouth Plantation has been doing and some of our plans and hopefully answer some questions about some of the big events this year. Top of the list of, we of course are very eager to reopen as soon as Governor Baker allows organizations like ours to do so. As you all may know, we were open briefly as we usually do in mid-March, but with the governor's orders, we closed as of 5 p.m. on March 15th. So right now our focus is on making sure we are as prepared as we can be to reopen, and no one knows exactly what that'll look like or what to expect, but we are always looking at best practices and are monitoring the updates so that we can give visitors, to our mostly outdoor museum, confidence in visiting us when we are able to reopen. And of course, Mayflower is top of mind for a lot of people, especially us at Plymouth Plantation. We're disappointed to say that the Memorial Day homecoming will need to be postponed, but our intention is to bring the ship back in 2020 as soon as we can safely do so. So there's a lot more to come, so stay tuned for those updates. I want to give a little bit of an update on the restoration itself. The Mystic Seaport Museum in Connecticut and the shipyard is currently closed, as we are here in Massachusetts, but our crew is still down there doing daily checks of the ship, and we're glad to report that she's still doing great. The restoration is nearing its end with the ultimate journey home. We'll wait and see what the governor of Connecticut, as well as Governor Baker, has to say for organizations like ours when we can reopen and start to make that a possibility. You also might have seen the Old Colony Memorial article recently about the National Register of Historic Places application that's pending for Mayflower 2. We're really excited to see that process come to fruition. It's been a long process, and we're grateful to the support of Lee Hartman and the town of Plymouth for throughout the process. So I think it's a hearing in June, so we're looking forward to that date to see what happens. Because as you know, Mayflower 2 is historic in her own right, well beyond just the story of the Pilgrims that she represents. So as I noted, the ship's Memorial Day homecoming to Plymouth unfortunately has to be postponed given the current circumstances. We are going to, we'll announce what the new plans will look like as soon as we know. But if you've already bought a ticket to the Memorial Day homecoming, we encourage you to hold on to it because we will honor it whenever the new date might be. And like I said, there'll be a lot more details coming soon on how those new events will shape up. And just want to say thank you to the town of Plymouth and DCR for their partnership with us on this homecoming. It's a really exciting time for us, for the town, and even in this new world that we're living in. We'll work together to make sure that the public can celebrate Mayflower safely within the parameters set by the state and town officials. And as Donna referenced, a lot of museums now are moving to more virtual offerings to keep providing the history to the public. And we've been doing that. Plymouth Plantation, Plymouth.org, our website, is full of free educational resources from coloring pages to tutorials to historic recipes. And we're taking a lot of our programs virtual, like our monthly lecture series, Lunch and Learn, Plymouth After Darks, and we're even bringing the plant sale virtual this year, and we're curbside pickup. And also, thank you to the Old Colony Memorial for a recent article on our new exhibit, History in a New Light. This is a lot of the work that you've been seeing happening on Burial Hill with Project 400, and the team from UMass Boston is coming to light now in this exhibit. It's being highlighted. So we can encourage you, although you can't visit it in person, you can see all these amazing discoveries online on our YouTube channel through a virtual tour or through our website. We've been doing history at home programs that have been getting some really great response, and we're really appreciative of all the feedback that we've gotten on that. If you're missing the cinema, you can check out Plymouth Virtual Cinema. It's kind of like our little Netflix that we have going right now, where you can, at plymouth.org/cinema, you can rent movies, new releases to watch. And our distributors are working with us to split the rental fee. So it's a crucial support to keeping our mission alive. A lot of people also visit Plymouth Plantation, especially a lot of locals, to do some of their shopping, some of their holiday shopping, especially Mother's Day's coming up. And if you're just looking for something new to do, Plymouth.com, our retail space, is a great way to find new exciting things to do and still support our museum. Some of the best sellers right now is the cornmeal from Plymouth Gristmill, because I'm sure everyone's looking for new recipes for their quarantine dinners now. So we still have a lot going on virtually, even though we're not open right now physically. So I encourage people to stay in touch with us via social media, through our website, so they can get the latest updates on Mayflower, on reopening, and all the new stuff that we're trying to bring in a new format to the public. So thank you for having me today, Steve.
Thank you, Tom Begley. He is with Plymouth Plantation, and as I mentioned earlier, last Thursday night, Tom and I participated in a Zoom meeting that involved 3 precincts in the town of Plymouth, and just want you to know that the business of the town continues, albeit we've had to respond to the coronavirus. So too with a lot of local organizations. Usually on Mondays at this time, I'm attending the Plymouth Rotary Club meeting at 12:15. It continues. There are Zoom meetings every Monday with the Plymouth Rotary Club, as with many other organizations. Last week we talked about the Sunrise Rotary Club, which Representative Muratore is a member, and some of their activities. And I just want to do a shout out for one of the members' wives. Yesterday I picked up a large order of masks, which you can see here, that are being sold by Hazel Minsky as a fundraiser for the Sunrise Club. If you want to get kind of fun, there's a Phoenix gallery on the other side with Snoopy and Woodstock. So every organization is doing its part to try to keep things going during the time when we're responding to COVID-19. And that brings us to our next guest, who is representing another organization, the Plymouth Bay Cultural District. And today we welcome the chair, Andrew Boteri. Welcome, Andrew.
Hey, good to see you, Steve. Good to see everybody. And I guess in light of what Sara was talking about, one of the things that we've got to do in this time is also make sure that we don't lose our sense of humor. So Matt, that palm tree behind you, hopefully you're on a beach. And if you are, get the tie and shirt and coat off as soon as you can. I'm sure it's miserable. Again, thanks again, Steve. And I know Melissa was supposed to be here. We've been I tell you, this was our first, this was the week of Art Week from May 1st to May 10th, which throughout the Commonwealth, Art Week Boston had 600 programs going on. Here in Plymouth, we actually had 25 going on, and it is very disappointing, obviously, that, we've had to cancel that. But in light of that, I just want to say on behalf of Melissa Kenny, Robin Carver, Dottie Pock, and Aimee Naples, which is the executive team for the Plymouth Bay Cultural District. Just want to make sure that everybody out there is safe, they're staying healthy, and they are using their masks. I've noticed here in Plymouth, every business now, if you do go in, restaurant or whatever, you do have to have your mask, so don't forget your masks. And even though we've had to cancel Art Week 2020, we've launched an exciting and fun initiative called Plymouth Arts at Home 2020, hashtag Plymouth Arts at Home 2020. And what's great about it is that we've partnered with photographer and director Christopher Harding of Plymouth to produce a short montage of local artists, performers, and musicians at their homes, at their businesses, and capturing them holding a piece of art. We've got one picture of a young lady dancing in her backyard. We've got many of our local musicians that are playing, maybe a chord or two on their guitar. And this was all really for us to be able to let people know that even though we are homebound, that virtually the Plymouth arts, our culture, our music performers, everything is still going strong. And actually, this coming Friday, we'll be showing Christopher's video on PAC TV. It will be up on our Plymouth Bay Cultural District Facebook page later on today. And it was just, again, something that we wanted to let people know that just because we're all closed in, arts and culture doesn't stop. And so it was really important to let people know that this Plymouth community is strong, whether it's to do with our town hall, whether it's to do with the officials, Donna over at the museum and the Plymouth Plantation. I mean, we're sort of trying to reinvent ourselves as we go through this whole unprecedented time. And it's just great to have the support. Donna mentioned we're going to start as a cultural group, having more Zoom meetings to see what we can do as we start to open and how that might look and how we can all collaborate with each other to make sure, because people are just itching to get out there and be able to listen to that music, be able to go to an art store. And so as we say in our video that, so what else can you do? What else can we do to make sure that we keep this art alive? And so if anyone wants to do a dance or music or creative or a piece of art, make sure that you put it on your social media and use the hashtag Plymouth Arts at Home 2020. For many of our local artists and musicians, their craft is a large portion of their income. And as we know, they've been virtually shut down. So please visit their websites. Purchase a piece of art that you can do curbside pickup. Even maybe order a piece of art that you can pick up once everything starts to open up again. We have many of our local musicians, Brandon Manter, Sherry Malone, Jim Schultz and his group. They're all doing virtual music performances. So go onto their Facebook pages, visit their music entourage, if you will, and leave a tip in their virtual tip jar with a Venmo. Also consider, and Donna, here's a plug to you guys and also the Plantation, consider purchasing a membership at a local cultural venue. If you bought tickets for something and maybe it's been canceled, donate it back to that organization, because this is, again, their lifeline is ticket sales. And it's really important that we have all these incredibly talented people, venues, who again make their living, off of just their art, if you will, their craft. And you've been seeing them many times over the years in person. Well, I think it's time that we really help them out. So again, on behalf of the Plymouth Bay Cultural District, make sure that if you do anything creative, post it on our Facebook page too, Plymouth Bay Culture District, and use the hashtag Plymouth Arts at Home 2020. And stay safe, everybody.
Thank you, Andrew Boteri. He's the chair of the Plymouth Bay Cultural District. We're next going to go to another member of his executive board who also doubles as executive director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, Aimee Naples. Welcome, Aimee.
Hi, Steve. Great to see you today. Happy Monday. What an awesome group of panelists this morning. And it's so nice to see all of them because I have not seen them in quite some time. So I wanted to start off by letting you all know that the Chamber has formed a Plymouth Recovery Task Force with our partners from the Town of Plymouth Board of Health, See Plymouth, and the Plymouth Regional Economic Foundation, as well as representatives from various industry. Collectively, the group represents the interests of the majority of Plymouth businesses as well as its workforce. The task force will be charged with identifying challenges facing our local businesses and citizens. Our first area of concentration will be with reopening as well as economic recovery. The task force will address key economic issues that are specific to workers and businesses, which includes identifying strategies to stabilize the local economy, to help ensure the safety of our workers, to make recommendations to reduce unnecessary regulations that may be a barrier to the rapid recovery of our local economy, to analyze and implement policies from the state, and to recommend other actions or policies that could improve or strengthen Plymouth's economy. We think this is a great opportunity and important first step to come together to address the challenges we are facing and the impact it has made on all walks of life. Last week, I was very excited to hear the announcement of the Plymouth One Fund, which is the collaboration with the Chamber and Mass for Meds. The Plymouth One Fund was created to support the vibrancy of Plymouth businesses, and 100% of the funds will be distributed to small businesses in Plymouth in the form of unrestricted grants. So we hope you consider making a donation to the Plymouth One Fund by visiting plymouthchamber.com. It is our hope to release multiple funding rounds as they become available. The more money we raise, the more businesses we can help. And also what I wanted to talk about was a great segue from Andrew, as our first fundraiser for the Plymouth One Fund is coming up this Saturday on PAC TV and streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. You can tune in to hear all of the wonderful local artists that we have here in town for Coachella. You can enjoy music all night long, hear heartfelt stories from local business owners and community members from 7 to 10 p.m. So make sure you tune into PAC TV. And thank you for allowing me to provide the business update for today, Steve.
Thank you, Aimee Naples, Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Each day we go with an opening statement from the state. Representative Matthew Muratore has been with us for every update, and we know that there's been another order from the state regarding masks effective Wednesday. Matt, what's your update today?
Okay, well, the governor is actually speaking right now, so I'm getting a little bit of updates, but you're right. Reminding people to wear masks starting Wednesday will be mandatory. And Steve, I got some of those masks from Hazel Minsky as well. Got them from my entire family, and they're magnificent. So, and they're not that expensive either. So we thank her, and she's donating every bit of the money back to the Sunrise Rotary, who's donating it all back into the community. So it's really nice to see. But yes, masks need to be worn starting Wednesday every day. I was out a little bit over the weekend as well. I was out this morning. Andrew, the reason I'm dressed up Wednesday, you'll appreciate this, is National Day of Prayer. And so I had a proclamation from the governor to read. It's all being filmed though separately. So I went in and filmed it separately. It's all going to be shown Thursday night at 5 o'clock. So I decide what to use for a background. I just felt like I wanted to be in Hawaii today. So, but I didn't have time to get undressed, but I will later. But anyways, let's look at some of the numbers. There's some good news coming out of this. we are starting to see the downward trend in this, and we know the governor's given the order to extend till 2 weeks from today. But if you look at the numbers over the weekend, since the last time we talked on Friday, there have been an increase in testing by 38,999. So almost 39,000 tests have been done in the last 3 days, which brings the total testing up to 314,646. And out of the 7 million people in the Commonwealth, that's 4.5% of the Commonwealth population has been tested. With the confirmed cases, and this is where some of the good news comes in, the increase over the last 3 days has been 5,882 of confirmed cases. We were up to about 30% at one point towards the end of March, beginning of April. Of all those being tested, we were getting about 30% of the folks were being confirmed with the coronavirus. Over this weekend, if you add all the totals up, it's at 15%. So we've cut that number in half. And if you look at just yesterday, that number is down to 12%. So testing is increasing, which is great. Tracing is still happening, which is wonderful. And the numbers are starting to come down with the amount of people that are being tested that actually have the coronavirus. And in addition, the percentage of hospitalization has gone down. I think it was on April 21st, we were at 10% of those folks that have been confirmed with the coronavirus were hospitalized with it. Now, as of yesterday, we're down to 5%. So we are making some great strides in that. On Friday, we had 3,803 people in the hospital. And as of yesterday, we're 3,617. The ICU beds have actually gone down as well. The number of ICU patients are now 904 as of yesterday, compared to 1,001 as of Friday. So we are seeing some good numbers going in the right direction. The number of beds opened in the Commonwealth, hospital beds, is still around 54%, which is great. And in southeastern Mass, in our area as well, is around 50%. Obviously, the bad news on this is the amount of deaths continue to surge. There were 442 deaths over the weekend. To increase it, we're now over 4,000 deaths, 4,004, which is now 6% of those that have been contracted the virus have now unfortunately passed away, with now 60% of those are seniors, those living in long-term care facilities, those in skilled nursing facilities, assisted livings, and rest homes. So there's still a great effect on our older population, which is why wearing the mask is so important. And I still, in talking with people, they think they don't need to wear a mask because they're fine and they're okay. It's not about you, really. It's look at these seniors that are dying. These seniors aren't going anywhere. I've said this before. They're living in these places and they're dying because they're contracting the disease somehow. And it's you may have it and not realize it, and you're giving it to somebody else who may be going into work and then giving it to somebody and not even realizing it. So you're really wearing masks to protect others more than yourself, but also to protect yourself. So I think we need to keep that in mind. With regard to the numbers locally in Plymouth, there are 248 cases. And in Plymouth County, there are 5,507 cases of the coronavirus. The number of deaths in Plymouth County are at 323. The only other thing I do want to bring up, the testing is going strong in long-term care facilities. We are now at 29,583 tests have been done to staff as well as residents. And that's out of about 70 to 80,000 people in these facilities. 322 facilities have at least one case of coronavirus. But the tests have been done in 542 facilities out of 682. So we're really doing a lot of testing in these facilities every day, and we'll continue to do that. A couple other things the governor just brought out, just letting people know, and I'm looking now, the advisory board has been meeting every day since last Tuesday. They've met with the retail industry, the restaurant industry, real estate industry, golf course industry, bank industry. If anybody wants to submit testimony, they're more than welcome to do that, to send to the advisory committee. If they want to send it to me directly, I'll forward it to the governor's office so they have it. But I'm pretty comfortable that by the 18th, we will have a plan on how we're going to open. But masks is going to be the new norm. There's no doubt about that going forward. And the last thing that I do want to bring up is that it is National Teachers Week as well, which is ironic with what our teachers are doing for all our kids in the remote learning. So a big shout out to the teachers, whether you're in a public or private school, or whether you're daycare teachers as well. We thank you for what you do, and we celebrate you this week. And that's the update for today, Steve.
Thank you, Representative Matthew Muratore. He joins us each day as we now go to your questions. You can send them to us at plymouthinfo@pactv.org. And as we review the questions, we're going to look at tomorrow's lineup. On Tuesday, Ken Tavares, Matt Muratore, and I will be joined, as we are each Tuesday, by Christopher Smalley of the Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth campus, and he's the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications. We welcome back John Buckley, the Register of Deeds, and for the first time, we'll be also joined by Kevin Hennessy. He is a payroll expert. He'll talk about some of the issues that have arisen with respect to payroll and unemployment. Stephen Cole is the Executive Director for the Plymouth Regional Economic Development Foundation. They'll all be with us tomorrow. The first question that we're going to go to is a question that we received on Friday, and Rick, a viewer, asked how many inmates at Plymouth Correctional Facility have been tested, how many are positive, what kind of care are they receiving. And following our forum, we did reach out to the sheriff who will be joining us each and every Friday, but as of Friday, he told us that there were 36 people who were tested. There were 3 people who are positive. 2 of them are staff, 1 of them an inmate. 1 of the staff members has recovered. The second is recovering at home under care of the doctor. And the positive inmate is currently in quarantine with the medical unit for the Plymouth County House of Correction. And that inmate is receiving care from our medical staff. And again, the Sheriff Joseph McDonald will be joining us each and every Friday to provide us with an update regarding the local correctional facility that is located here in Plymouth. Our next question is going to go to Representative Matthew Muratore, and the question that we've received is from a restaurant owner, and the owner asks a question about liquor licenses, and specifically as we're trying to social distance during COVID-19, will it be possible to obtain licenses for a parking lot or sidewalks with food and tables? And after we go to Representative Muratore, we'll go to the Chair of the Board of Selectmen. Matt, can you provide some guidance for this?
Yeah, Steve, I've heard that as well, because, again, with the regulations that are going to come forward on May 18th, and let me emphasize that we're not going to fully open up on May 18th. The regulations of the new norm will be coming out. New Hampshire actually just came out with some new regulations, and they're starting to open a little bit this week. But this week it's only for doctors' offices, so you can actually start going to the doctor for various things. But golf course is another week or 2 away and things like that. So I don't want people to think May 18th we're going to be opening it up. But when there is a new norm and when restaurants actually do open up, I do believe that the capacity will probably not be what the capacity is. So I applaud restaurants that try to think outside the box and try to see if they could do something either in the sidewalks or in the parking lots to have some more seating, but outdoor. With regard to having a liquor license, that would be more for the town, but I can tell you that I have reached out to the ABCC that does control the liquor license for the Commonwealth to try to see if there's any way they can, during this emergency over the next several months, that they could maybe give local options to the cities and towns to decide how they actually do that. But if folks already have a liquor license and they want to extend it out into the parking lot or the sidewalks, with ABCC approval, if we could get that, how the town does that would be up to Ken and Melissa to decide that.
Thank you, Representative Matthew Muratore. And we'll go to Kenneth Tavares, Chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. And Ken, your board hears hearings for liquor licenses and also changes. What would you suggest that a restaurant owner should do, such as the person that contacted us today?
Well, the process is well laid out that if you want to expand the area that you're serving liquor in, you actually have to have a full hearing before the Board of Selectmen. Now, if there are going to be some exceptions made, as Matt referred to it, we'd have to get that from the ABCC. They actually are in control of the rules. The board holds the license. We have done this before, where people have wanted to expand the outdoor area that they serve liquor in. So it certainly is a possibility, and one that we probably should be asking the folks in Boston that question now, whether they would consider that on a much higher scale than what we normally get. But as you go around Plymouth, you can see areas that are serving outside. They've gone, through a detailed hearing process, and perhaps we can shorten some of that for them. But again, a question that we'll have to ask the ABC.
Today with Ken Tavares, a question for Ken first locally, and then we'll go to Matt for the state. And Ken, we know that the Board of Health has issued the order regarding the masks, so that is not coming from the Board of Selectmen, but a viewer writes, and possibly you can help. Do masks have to be worn all the time when people are outside, or just when you can't be 6 feet away? It's very confusing. Also, should they be worn when you go through a drive-through? Ken, do you care to answer
Well,
that?
I think that the Board of Health has tried to be, very clear about it, saying that you use the mask when you can't maintain that 6 foot barrier between you and someone else. If I was going to go through a drive up, I certainly would wear a mask. Again, the emphasis is not on you, but on the people that you're coming in contact to. So, the Board of Health, I think, has tried to be reasonable. The governor is certainly doing the same thing, and that is that wear the mask when you realize that you're going to be coming into contact with someone else.
Yes, that's Ken Tavares, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen. And last week we did have Mr. Potvin, who was the Vice Chair, who was talking about it as well. And while I don't have it right in front of me, I do recall that certainly if you are going to get food at a takeout, not only will the employee for the restaurant be wearing a mask, but you're asked to wear a mask as well. So certainly going to a drive-through or any time when you're having contact, also in a professional office building. So when I came into the studio today, I was wearing a mask and wearing a mask until I actually get into the room here with the camera, where I'm distancing with one other employee. At this time, we'll go to Representative.
Steve, can I interrupt you just for a second? I have the order from the Board of Health in front of me, and it's actually posted under their heading online, so it's very easy to follow. And as far as the drive-in, it says all members of the public entering a restaurant or drive-through for the purpose of picking up food for takeout or medication must wear a facial covering over their nose and mouth. But the order as it's written is in bold black in areas that are extremely important if you don't want to read the 2 pages, but it answers any question that you might have in regards to the mask.
Thank you. And Representative Matthew Muratore, anything you'd like to add with regard to the state order that is going to be in effect on Wednesday regarding masks?
No, Ken said it well. Actually, the state order supersedes the Board of Health at the local order, but it's exactly the same thing. You have to wear it, out in public, whether you're going in and out of some place or you're going to be, if you're walking downtown, chances are you're on the sidewalk, you're going to bump into somebody, you're going to be 6 feet, near them. So, and drive-through, Ken is right. I mean, you're going to be 6 feet from a drive-through. So again, you're wearing the mask, protect yourself and others, but more so others.
Thank you, Representative Matthew Muratore. At this time, each day we go back through our panel and ask each of our participants to give us a closing statement. What would you like viewers to remember about what they've heard from you or from the other members of the panel? We're going to go to Sara Cloud. She's the She is the Director of Behavioral Health at Social Work at Beth Israel Deaconess in Plymouth. Sara, what should we remember today?
No, I think life can be demanding and rewarding during times of normalcy, but we've really departed from normalcy 7 to 8 weeks ago now. And we're really on this uncharted adventure together. And it's really important to take care of yourself and others during this journey. And there are things that we cannot control, like the weather or how quickly we're going to be able to reopen. But there's things that we can control, and I think that's what's really important for us to continue focusing on, and that's wearing masks, and it's acts of kindness, and it's self-care. And I think as Andrew had mentioned when he was talking, it's really important to kind of take this time to reinvent yourself. And one of the ways that we can do this is really kind of focusing on how well we're taking care of ourselves and what that looks like for us, and try new things. And just really reinvest and care for yourself. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sara Cloud, Director of Behavioral Health, Social Work, Beth Israel Deaconess, Plymouth Campus. We're now going to go back to Donna Curtin, Executive Director of Pilgrim Hall Museum. Donna, what should be a takeaway today for our viewers?
I think we should all recognize we're living in a community with a very long history. We've got 400 years of European settlement. If you want to look at our indigenous past, perhaps as many as 12,000 years of human experience right here. And for my institution, it's our 200th birthday year this year. And one of the themes is we have encountered many, many trying challenges in the past, and we have surmounted them. And we have done it by coming together and working together. And I think that's our model going forward. And I look forward to continuing to see the strength of Plymouth shine even in the darkness of our days.
Thank you, Donna Curtin. Good words to live by. She's the Executive Director of Plymouth Pilgrim Hall Museum. And Tom Begley is the Executive Office and Special Projects Manager with Plymouth Plantation. Tom, you've been watching these updates. What do you want us to remember today about Plymouth Plantation?
Well, I just sort of to echo a little bit of what we've been talking about and what you've talked about in a lot of these forums, just the importance of the community coming together in these moments, how important that is not only to us as individuals, but to all the different businesses and organizations that make Plymouth such a special place. We at Plymouth Plantation are truly grateful to everybody, friends and supporters, all the essential workers who are keeping the town going until we can be together again, which we will be together again. And we're just grateful for the spirit of togetherness from community partners like the Chamber of Commerce, Plymouth 400, See Plymouth, the Cultural District. And we're really appreciative of all the support for all the local organizations, such as through the virtual cash mob that the Chamber recently organized. We've all done a really great job of supporting each other on social media and in sharing each other's news and offerings. And I think we just need to continue to do that as we explore as to what the new world will be as we start to reopen and move forward together.
Thank you, Thomas Begley, Executive Office, Special Projects Manager, Plymouth Plantation. At this time, we're going to go back to Andrew Boteri. Andrew, what should we take away from your presentation today?
Well, I think the one thing that's really important, again, this has been a great panel today. Just remember again, for the arts, the performers, the venues, is that they're pretty much dark. And so it's really important that, that we visit artists' website. I know the Chamber's doing their thing this coming weekend, which is great. So make sure that you do check that out on PAC TV, maybe buy some art. Again, Plymouth Arts at Home 2020. Go on to some of the musicians' Facebook pages and put a nice little tip in their tip jar. We will get through this. As Donna said, we've got a lot of history of resilience in this wonderful town. And it's been great to see everybody step up to the plate and be part of a solution to what we have going around us. And again, hats off to Representative Muratore and Kenny Tavares for sort of leading the way and giving us some guidance as we continue to kind of figure this out. And again, just never lose your sense of humor.
Thank you, Andrew Boteri, Plymouth Bay Cultural District Chair. We're going to go now to Aimee Naples. And Aimee, what should we remember today? You have that event coming up this weekend.
Yes, absolutely. So be sure to tune in Saturday, 7 to 10 p.m. PAC TV. We can't wait to see you on there. But I think I can speak on behalf of the entire business community and say we cannot wait to welcome home the Mayflower 2 and see Pilgrim Hall Museum open, as well as the downtown and waterfront vibrant again. With that being said, our business community needs your help. We understand it's very challenging to stay at home, especially during the nice weather, but it's important to follow the orders and guidelines in place. If you do not, it's only going to hinder the economic recovery and allowing businesses to reopen. So I ask you to support local business, but do so by following the orders and guidelines that are in place for the health of our entire community. So distance socially and support locally.
Aimee Naples, Executive Director of Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. We're going to come back to Representative Matthew Muratore for your closing statement. Matt?
Yeah, I think what Donna and Tom and Aimee have said about, coming together and this community, comes together all the time, no matter what happens. We really come together well. I'm very proud of, this community for what we're doing. And, what I'm thinking of today and watching all of them is obviously tourism. Tourism is our number one industry. And we know that's going to be an issue this year. It's already having an effect and will have an effect, even when we are able to slowly open up. And remember, we're not going to open up on May 18th. It's going to take some time to get there. But when we do start to open up, tourism will not be the same as it was. But we are working at a state level to, along with the community of Plymouth, to come up with some sort of ideas, campaigns to welcome people back to Massachusetts next year in 2021. And hopefully, we can come back stronger than ever. But it is a tough time for the tourism industry, and my heart goes out to all the industries that are out there in the town of Plymouth, whether you're an attraction or whether you're a restaurant or a hotel. But we will together forge ahead with this. And again, I wanted just another shout out for the teachers this week. Happy Teachers Week to everyone, and thank you for what you're doing. We also want to thank all the essential workers that are taking care of our health. And all the essential workers that are taking care of economic health for what they're doing and what they do every single day. Again, stay informed. We're going to be in this for a little bit longer, so stay informed by mass.gov/COVID-19. Ask questions by calling 211. Get text alerts by going to COVID MA, texting COVID MA to 888-777, or in Spanish, COVID MA ESP to 888-777. And if you have questions on health, go to bowie.com/mass. And as I say all the time at the end of every show, stay calm, stay informed, stay home. And again, the more we can come together by staying apart, the faster we'll get back to the people we love and the things we love to do. Thanks again, Steve, and PAX TV, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Representative Matthew Muratore, and to all of our guests, Sara Cloud, Director of Behavioral Health and Social Work, Beth Israel Deaconess, Donna Curtin, the Executive Director for the Pilgrim Hall Museum, Tom Begley, Executive Office and Special Projects Manager, Plymouth Plantation, Andrew Boteri, Chair, Plymouth Bay Cultural District, Aimee Naples, Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. We're going to circle back to Ken Tavares, Chair of the Board of Selectmen. Ken, your closing thoughts?
Yes, thank you, Steve. I think that during the past couple of months, we have are learning so much about ourselves and everyone that we're coming in contact with. We're seeing how connected we are, that we don't stand alone. It's impossible to stand alone. And I think this goes back to the early lessons in the days of this community when a band of 102, sailed into this harbor and decided to make a settlement. I think, once again, I'd like to close with, we have to have patience with one another. I believe that people are trying to do things for the right reasons and that we need to support one another. And with that kindness, I think we're already starting to see a break in the hold that the virus has on us. There's no doubt in my mind that there are wonderful days ahead of us. They're going to be difficult days. They're not all going to be easy, but this community will survive. Been my home for 75 years, and I am extremely proud of what people are doing in Plymouth. We, once again, are able to show others the way. Let's keep it up, Plymouth, and together we will beat this virus. Thank you, Steve.
He is Chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. We'll be back here tomorrow where Ken, Matt, and I will be joined by Christopher Smalley from Beth Israel Deaconess in Plymouth. He's the Director of Marketing Communications. Also John Buckley. He is the Plymouth County Register of Deeds. Kevin Hennessy, he's a local payroll expert. Stephen Cole, the Executive Director for the Plymouth Regional Economic Development Foundation. I'm Steve Triffletti, Plymouth Town Moderator. Thank you for joining us and good day.